Welcome to Vidgens. It's the stand-up tragedy tour. This is Stud Home Dairy. Interesting little kind of just a guy, it's a dairy, who goes in there. Actually, at one point, this was owned by the Russian Secretary of Agriculture, who was indeed, who was sort of Clifford Skeggs and a lot of other New Zealanders and a lot of other Russians who were involved in this particular place. If you drive down that road to the left, I think, or it might be the right, but either way, one of these roads takes you to a shithouse-looking little pub. When the Russians actually had it, you used to walk through the door and discover they had the best vodka around, and basically a great little menu. So, you know, it's just one of these little places, again, we all go, oh, the evil Russians, but I'm like, hey, hang a second, wasn't that long ago we were in bed with these evil Russians and we were quite happy making money with them at that point. Interesting areas, like where I'm in now is in the Waitaki Valley. It's on the border of Canterbury and Otago. They've done surveys for water usage, and during about the same time that this was actually owned by the Russians, 90% of the people that were actually checking the survey actually came from Russia. And it was all part of this game. Our government's national... Everybody's got to be a critic. It's basically a combination of National and Labour. We're effectively opening our doors and allowing all these really, really shady people to come in and buy land. None of us will turn around and say, wait a minute, what was going on here? And right now it's sort of convenient. Move along, nothing to see, when there's actually quite a lot to see. The last thing I'll just say about the spot before we move along, because it's quite a noisy place to film from, is if you turn the camera around and you look over that direction there, that basically takes you to Waitaki. Now, Waitaki's claim to fame, apart from it being, as I like to joke, the dead centre of New Zealand, is actually, it's the home of Norman Kirk, who was basically a Labour Prime Minister and believed that we should lean towards a socialist democracy. So he wasn't saying we should become fully socialism, but he was believing that basic things like education, national assets should be basically controlled by the government, and everything else was left up to us, you know, to get on with our own lives. Pretty much when we were following their policies, we were at the top of the OECD in all statistics. 35 years later, both Labour and National following effectively neoconservative, neoliberal, we're now at the bottom of the OECD register. The gap between the rich and poor is worse, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So maybe we need to go back and have a look at what worked, because repeating the same thing that hasn't worked for 35 years is literally the definition of stupidity. This has been Vidgens Stand-Up Tragedy. Bazinga!